Hello, this is Nolan Elko, and for this video, I'm going to be talking about nuclear science and its vast impacts around the world. This is going to be talking about the very good parts of nuclear science, along with the very bad parts of nuclear science, and this is going to revolve around the history and also the present. For the particular topics that will be discussed, there is a great polarity between the positive and negative sides of nuclear science. On the positive sides, we have efficient energy, which includes nuclear fission along with nuclear fusion, and there is also nuclear medicine. For our negative aspects, this includes reactor meltdowns, which is a contrary to our efficient energy source. And there is also nuclear weapons, which I'm sure we are all very familiar with in our history. To get the big boom out of the way on the negative side, nuclear weapons are possibly the biggest mistake we have made in regards to nuclear science. These weapons of mass destruction were originally developed back in World War II in order to fight for power and control the sides of the war. Essentially, it was a race to who could get the weapons first, and depending on which side developed the weapons has greatly changed the outcome of the war. So nuclear weapons are weapons of mass destruction in which they can wipe out cities in a blink of an eye. For example, during World War II, the US dropped 2 nuclear bombs on both Nagasaki and Hiroshima, which were in Japan. While it did end the war, it caused great suffering for these cities and has left, even today, a lot of radiation in those cities. And the scary part is, while even though those weapons seemed like a big deal, as technology moved on, especially throughout the Cold War between the US and Russia developing even more powerful weapons and greater technology, these nuclear bombs have become 10 to 100 times more powerful than the ones dropped in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And they have also increased in number throughout many countries, and are essentially, while they are a backbone, they are a last resort, which has come to a great threat today, especially with North Korea and especially Russia, regarding the recent events with Ukraine and Vladimir Putin's desperate attempt to take over the country. If he were to enact this threat of using nuclear weapons, it could lead to a possible nuclear winter, which would essentially destroy the world, as the only way to combat these nuclear weapons would possibly be with nuclear force from other countries. And if that were to happen, especially with the great power of the weapons of today, we would destroy ourselves. And now for a more positive note towards nuclear science. So, as our population has grown, naturally we need more energy. So, we have put that nuclear science towards making nuclear reactors. So far, they are very dependable and can even become more dependable in the future regarding we master one of the techniques. Right now, 32 countries are dependent on this energy, and that energy mainly comes from nuclear fission. This is when we take atoms and split them apart, and that split creates energy for our homes, stores, and really anything that requires electricity, saying that you have a nuclear reactor in your area. So it's a very reliable source of energy. There's no emissions. However, radioactive waste is produced, which does harm the environment, but that waste is controlled and limited to very certain areas and controlled so it doesn't not get out of control and harms the environment, like the animals, plants, trees, all that. So now, a great possibility in the near future would be nuclear fusion, in which there would be no waste, and it has been theorized that if we master nuclear fusion, a single drop of water would be able to power an entire city. And if that were to happen, climate change would take a great turn for the better. And however, there is one catch to nuclear reactors, and that's in case of a meltdown happens. In this very rare but very dangerous event, that could leave areas inhabitable, say the reactor were to explode. There's been very notable incidences where this has almost happened, and unfortunately some where it has. The most known being Chernobyl, where if you go to Chernobyl, you're gonna die from the radiation if you're there too long, which took place in Ukraine. And there's also been other incidences like the 3 Mile Island incident in PA, the Fukushima disaster, which took place in Japan, and also the SL-1 accident, which took place in the US. Now, these events are very rare, but it can happen. But as technology has developed, the chances of this is very low. And now, to close the video, probably the most positive impact from nuclear science across the world would be nuclear medicine, as it has essentially revolutionized the medical game and has greatly benefited the health of many throughout the world. So, nuclear medicine allows us, one, to gather more information on our organs, tissues, cells. Like, say you get an injury and you go to get an MRI, that's nuclear medicine. They use radiation. While it does sound scary, it is very safe, as there's many precautions used to prevent any damage. But that allows the doctors, nurses, and anyone trying to cure you to get all the information they need in order to treat you. And also, it doesn't help us just see these issues. It also helps treat the issues, especially for cancer or pain. Especially since cancer is a worldwide issue and is very tragic for those that have been lost from it. And as nuclear medicine keeps going on, we are becoming closer and closer to curing cancer, which would be amazing. So that concludes this video on nuclear science regarding the negative sides towards nuclear weapons and possible reactor meltdowns, and also the positive side towards our efficient energy, along with great developments in medicine with nuclear medicine. I hope this information found you well, and you take deeper dives into nuclear science, as it's a very interesting topic and will be a great part of our upcoming future. Thanks. Bye-bye.